Peace, love, and light, y'all. What's going on? So it is your girl Crystal Dior. So this is part 2 of my Niagara Falls video. So I just did some of the entertainments here at Niagara Falls, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just basically talk to myself in the camera while the falls is behind me. Let's see if I can get a better view. Alright. So basically, today was the adventurous day as well because it rained today, but it didn't like rain the full day of the day. So I went back over to Clifton Hills and I got on the go-karts. After I got off the go-karts, it started raining a bit. So I said, all right. So I went back to my room for a little bit. I had something to eat. Then I said, okay, what do I want to do today? So I wanted to do behind the falls. So I did that, and that was actually fun. I mean, the downside of it is they get a whole bunch of people, so it was a long line before you was able to get behind the falls. It was 2 tunnels that kept you dry where you could see like the falls coming down, and then you could go into the main tunnel where you're right there where the falls is at, so you will get wet. So I did that. So then I decided, I said, okay, you know what, I'm going to actually go to the boat as well. So I decided to do the water boat where you get close as possible to the falls and you kind of get drenched. And I've been on my feet all day, so I'm a bit tired. So I was like, all right. So I sat down a little bit. I was on there early enough for me to get like front row if I wanted, but it didn't matter to me. I just wanted to be comfortable. So I like that one too. That one was about $40 US money, and then the behind the falls was about $29, so it probably was like $27 US money. But all in all, like I said, and I still say, I feel like it's really a family friendly place, you know. The people just don't really have a lot of like awareness with personal space. They don't care. They'll get right in front of you and not say excuse me or anything. They'll do like a lot of like little rude stuff or whatever. I did go to the gift shops as well. And all right, so the gift shops around the resort or right near Niagara Falls is higher than the one on Clifton Hills. If you was really looking for a steal deal at the gift shop, you want to go to the gift shops near Clifton Hills, more so in the cut, not on the main strip, in the cut. Okay. So that would be like my best recommendation if that was something that you wanted to do, just to see what they might have. But of course, like price it. But the ones around Clifton Hills is cheaper than the ones near the falls itself. I stayed at the Hilton, which was close to the Niagara Falls itself. But they do have a lot of little motels right near Clifton Hills. So it depends on if you want to be closer to the falls, or if you want to be closer to Clifton Hills where it's like the amusement. So yesterday I did the Crystal Maze, I did the little wonky roller coaster. I wouldn't recommend you paying for that little wonky roller coaster. And then I did the haunted house with Frankenstein. Now, if you did all 3, you got a special for $30. Otherwise, it was about $15 each. So that's the reason why I did all 3, because it was a $30 special. So I was like, all right, well, I might as well just do the $30 special since it's basically, I'm going to get all 3 versus me doing 2 out of the 3 and still paying around the same price. So I did actually like the mirror maze. It was pretty decent. And the Frankenstein haunted house, it was weird. It was a little freaky because it was pitch black. And then you had a little monster following you around with a little flashlight here and there. And like it was more so the anticipation that made it like more so like the roller coaster, like I said, in my opinion, it was just whipping you around. Remind me of them little bootleg roller coasters, that wooden roller coaster at Dorney Park, if you ever been to Dorney Park in PA. But it was just whipping you around. It wasn't fun at all. It was abuse. And I did want to do the go-karts yesterday, but that line was crazy. So I said, all right, today I made it a point to do the go-karts. And I had got something to eat around there. Now, one thing is, for my health conscious babes, this isn't really like a health conscious place, okay? Like, I've been kind of surviving off of like Indian food more so because they have like more natural foods. I did go to this one diner. It was called Queen Pose or something like that. It was a local diner. They had vegan options. They had a few health options for vegans, but mostly a lot of other stuff was like junk food vegan. And I just didn't really like the energy in there because you could tell it was like a small town diner and they ain't really used to a lot of like foreigners. So I wasn't getting treated like great service until the one girl, I just asked the girl to help me and I just gave her, you know, a decent tip for helping me because I'm like, the other lady act like I didn't exist after she set me down. But their food was decent. They had decent food. So if you wanted to get something that wasn't like the straight fries, burgers, all that like little food that you could get near the Niagara Falls place, I'll say check out their diners because they got like a lot of like Fridays, Margaritaville, things like that. They got those type of chain restaurants around as well. But if you want something more like food, like more like home cooked food, that diner was decent because they had non-vegan items and vegan items at Queen Pose Diner. Okay, so as far as what I was able to do, like I said, I did the 2 water excursions today. I got some souvenirs, and I did also the go-karts today. Now this isn't a place to go party. Ain't nowhere you can really go party at. And plus it's the weekday, so I don't really know if they do have the ability, you know, like have any like clubs or anything like that. But they definitely do have bars, and they definitely do have places where you could drink. So if you are a drinker, you probably would like it here. When I did take Uber, I took Uber twice to go to that Queen place, and the one guy, he was an Uber hustler. He was only doing Uber, so he gave me his business card to call him if I needed rides here and there. But you know, he was giving me some tea, and he was just like, look, if I was going to go to Niagara on the lake, but he was like, if you don't really drink and you're like a picky eater, that's probably not the place for you because there's a lot of wineries around there and then food places, but it's not like a lot of entertainment. So if you was looking for entertainment, that's not it. So I said, okay. So I changed my mind, I scratched that. I said, okay, I won't go to Niagara on the lake then. I'll just stick around. So that's another place you could go to is Niagara on the lake. If you wanted to get like some winery experiences or like different restaurants to check them out. You probably have to get an Uber or a taxi there. I don't know how much that would cost you. Now they do have a bus that you could take different places. You'll have to get like the bus menu so they could tell you where they actually go. Okay. Clifton Hills, like I said, was where the amusement fun is. Clifton Hills really just had like golf and bowling. They have the Ferris wheel. They had a couple different haunted houses. They had a Ripley's Believe It or Not. They also had like a selfie studio, and then they also had like a wax museum for like famous movie people as well. So I did like that part as well. But then they had like a lot of different food places and souvenir places as well that you could check out. My overall experience here, I mean, it was okay. I'll say I give it a 7 out of destinations. Would I come back to here? It's not something I would jump up and down to do, but I do want to check out Toronto. So I would say like my next adventure, I will be going to Toronto if I came back to Canada. And if I ever came back to Niagara Falls, it really would be like a day trip. I'm not pressed to be here for 3 or 4 days, you know. It's an experience because like if you did want to check out like the water excursions, they're decent. They also have zip line and some type of whirlpool thing. I wasn't doing that. But if you wanted to be a little bit more adventurous, they have that option as well. Like I said, I will go to Toronto next. I do kind of want to visit Toronto because it's more of the city. So next time I will be doing that. I gave this trip a 7 out of 10. I like the amenities that my hotel had. So my hotel made that rating go up, okay? Initially I was supposed to be at Oaks looking over the Falls Hotel, but they said they was having plumbing issues, so they transferred me over to Hilton. And I actually got a better deal with Hilton because I feel like what I paid at Oaks Hilton probably would have charged me an extra $1,000 to get the amenities that I got, which is the jacuzzi room as well as a falls view. And that room is everything. I'm about to go there and go soak in my jacuzzi. You hear me? And you could kind of walk to everywhere. Like they had the museum, they had the tower. Like if you don't have like a falls room, they got this tower where you can it's called Skyline. They got this tower where you can go to check out like the falls view, and you can take pictures there as well. They have a museum in there as well. But then from Skyline, then you can walk to Clifton Hills. So it just depends where you're staying. I don't know where you'll be staying at, but it really just depends on where you're staying for real, if you came to Niagara Falls. This is just like a visiting trip, okay? You know, there's a lot of kids here, there's a lot of families here, there's a lot of people that don't have awareness, so be ready for that, okay? But I had a good time. I made the best of my vacation. I'm grateful that I was able to have my trip and my vacation, and I'm grateful for the experience. Now I'm about to go to a beach. So I'm about to go to a beach in like 2 days. Think about Myrtle Beach. To just sit in the sun and just lay out at the beach. For real. But anyway, if you ever been to Niagara Falls, please give people some tips and tricks. How I got here was on a flex bus. Listen to my first video. So how I got here was on a flex bus from the airport. Round trip, it was probably like give or take $35 round trip, depending on like if you wanted seat selections or any other like seat options. But you could get like cheaper tickets for about $30 round trip if you don't care where you're sitting or anything like that. And that's about 1 hour and 40 minutes from the airport. I mean, the flight from Philly was only about 1 hour, so the flight wasn't bad. It was just basically waiting for the bus to take you to your destination. Some people go downtown Toronto and then get the flex bus from there. I feel like if you're already at the airport, why do any extra measures unless you want to see the city? That's my thing. I literally didn't care about that. I wanted to just be able to get from point A to point B safely, and that's what I did. If I had more time, I would probably have went to Toronto, but it's not that deep. That's going to be another trip because I need to get me a beach. But yeah, so one last view of the falls. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace, love, and light.